Hey guys, it's Katie Taylor, and I am joining the creative design team this month for our video collaboration celebrating fathers.
This month is all about fathers, celebrating fathers, and so I am going to be scrapbooking a photo of my daddy. If you don't know, or if you're new around here, you don't follow me on social media, I lost my daddy several years ago. I'm a big daddy's girl. So this is more of showing you how to scrapbook people who are no longer with us. So you can see that this is not a good photo at all. But because he's no longer with us, I can't actually snap any more photos. And that's one thing that I am passionate about. That's one thing that I try to get people to realize is that once someone passes away, there are no more photos of them. So you have to take photos. You have to print photos. Don't leave them on your phone or your camera. So this is where this photo is coming from. It's not a good photo, but because I'm limited in the photos that I have of my daddy, I'm going to scrapbook it and I'm going to celebrate him. June not only was Father's Day, but it was also his birthday. And also, I kind of want to touch on the fact that photos and scrapbooking don't have to be staged, don't have to be perfect, don't have to be, you can see here, he's like scratching his mustache or something, but this is my daddy. This is exactly how he sat. He's probably doing a crossword puzzle. This captures more of my daddy than any sitting still, looking directly at the camera and smiling would. So I'm going to celebrate him by this layout. I apologize for being sappy, but you also, if you know me, you know that happens a lot around here. So I have this piece of textured cardstock from the new Hope and Kindness. It is Toffee craft, and then it's got this white painted textured look on it. I don't know if you can see it. And then I'm also using one of our brand new Cricut collections, and I cut several images from that. It originally was a 2-page layout. I'll leave the link down below. But here is a look at it, and I'm just going to make it a 1-page layout. So another thing about my daddy is he almost always wore plaid. So I wanted to create this overlay. And then I've also got some photo mats. I'm bringing in a hint of red. You probably can't tell, but this was one of his favorite shirts. Favorite meaning that it was always on him. I don't know if it's because it never needed ironing or what, but it's just got a thin red line in it. So I want to remember that by adding some red touches. And then I also just printed 3x3 cardstock pieces with some of his favorite things that he loved doing, enjoyed, so on and so forth. And that will kind of be my journaling as well. So this layout is going to come together rather quickly. So I am just going to turn this over and then start applying adhesive on the back of this grid. So I'm just going to put that down as best and as straight as possible. Again, I love that the white background on my base is not really perfect either, and that way this plaid doesn't really have to be perfect. So we've got that down, and then I am going to start layering. Now you see here I already have the photo matted on some candy apple cardstock. And then I've got some almond. I believe this is almond. I used several neutrals, almond, toffee, craft, in this layout because, again, that's just, my daddy was always either in blue jeans or khakis, very muted colors. I've also got some tags that are cut. Again, these tags are part of the image that I used. And then I've got these. These were the cutest things in the original artwork. They had the 3x3, and then they had little paper clip cutouts. I'm actually going to be pulling out some pewter accents for my little journaling cards. And to me, pewter just kind of speaks to that. So I'm going to glue that down, and I'm not going to actually glue it down on my page yet. I might be adding 3D foam tape to that. So now I'm going to work on these, and again, I'm going to mat them with the candy apple cardstock. It's just a tiny hint of red, and then I'm going to mat it on that Toffee cardstock. So before I adhere this photo down, I'm going to go ahead and put in these tags. Now off camera, not only did I sponge around them, but I also added eyelets from my stash. It's been a while since I added eyelets, but I thought that that would be fun to add. And again, it just kind of adds another element of that red color. So I'm going to get that really adhered down, because it's got to go over this overlay as well as those eyelets. So we've got that, and then I've got these. So where I used red eyelets there, remember I told you I really wanted to pull in some pewter, and so I think I'm actually going to use these fun little things from my stash. And while these are usually pretty cute with ribbon and stuff in them, I'm not sure I'll be doing ribbon. But I think I want to do that. The other thing I might want to do before is, well, maybe not. I was thinking about, well, maybe so. Just can't make up my mind. I think I'm actually going to do some stenciling on these. And let me pull out some of my stencils and I can decide which one to use. So I keep calling this Sapphire, but it's actually Harbour. So I've pulled out some Harbour ink, and I've pulled out this stencil. And this stencil comes from the Core Products catalog. And you see here that we have 3 packages of the 12x12. And so it comes from stencil pack 1. This one right here, you can just cut apart, which is usually what I do. And then same thing with that one. There's enough space in between all of those that you wouldn't have to cut it apart, but I love these stencil options, not only for full 12x12 layouts, but also little bitty things like this right here. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of ink. I don't want this very dark because I don't want it to take away from the words, but I just want to add a little bit of stenciling here. Yes, and then also that one was my middle one. This one's going to be my top one. So I want the stenciling at the top left corner. And I'm using my glass mat here that's going to make it really easy to clean up. So we've got that one, and then on this one I'm going to kind of just do at the bottom. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. A light hand is best. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way, because you guys know that if it's open, I'm probably going to land on it. I can clean that up later since it's regular ink. So now is where I think I'm going to add these fun little details, and I'm not sure I'm going to add it on every one, but possibly definitely that one. So I'm going to get a paper piercer and go ahead and pierce my hole for my brad. And also these are going to be matted on some more of that almond cardstock. So I want to do this before I mat it on there. So I like that, and then I think on this one I may actually just add 3 brads right there. I am eyeballing it. You definitely could pull out a ruler and get that all nice and straight, but I think eyeballing it was going to work out just fine. And then on that top one, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm just going to use the bottom of my paper piercer to move that brad over. So we've got that. And then, I wonder what other fun thing I could do up there. So I found all of these just super fun things from a long time ago. So I could do that. I'm really thinking about using, I've got small ones, or I've got these large ones. And these are basically like brads too. You just insert them and those prongs poke right through the paper. So as much as I want to do the large one, I think I'm going to have to do the small one. So I'm just going to grab one of those. So I've got that pushed through, and it's just like a brad. I just spread out the pieces. And then the next thing I want to do is I have this star, and I have my new favorite, brush strokes. Now don't get me wrong, perfectly imperfect patterns will always be my favorite. But I am going to just use this watercolor and again bring out that Harbour ink and just color the inside of this star with the Harbour ink. And this is going to basically mimic his love of the Dallas Cowboys. And so I am just going to stamp down on that star. Pop that right off. Okay, so I think we've got that. Had a runaway brad right there. So basically I want these centered top to bottom. So I'm going to adhere the bottom one down and then the top one. And then because I have all of these on foam tape, it's going to be really easy to kind of tuck them behind. I'm going to turn this layout over and just really press down right there. There is the back side of this textured toffee and white layout. Don't you just love it? I hate to cover it up, but I think in the end it will be good. I also have this little cowboy hat. And then on the brim of the hat, I'm going to add some thin 3D foam tape just to add a little bit of dimension. I also inked up the edges of this cut as well for dimension. And again, the red only came into play because of the little pops of red that I wanted to include. He never had a hat that actually had red on it. I think I might actually let these two tags anchor that title, and then let this tag anchor these elements. And I think I'm actually going to scoot it over a bit. So I have that there, and then, yeah, perfect. So I'm going to actually use some thicker foam tape for that portion. And the perfect foam tape is the inside of our shaker shapes, because they are so much thicker than anything else. So I'm just going to let that serve as my adhesive, and they are strong, so I think 2 will be enough. So I'm going to just have that hat glued down just in the middle there. And then now I can glue down the word daddy And I think the Y is going to go over the photo. Hindsight 2020, I would have cut this like multiple times to add some dimension. Just kind of dab up that glue that I got where I wasn't supposed to. And I love that the title is not really bold. It's kind of subtle, but it definitely stands out. And then I think this star is going to go down here. So I'm going to add adhesive to this portion. And then another good thing about these little shaker shapes is they've got little bitty tiny ones too, especially on the circle and the star. And then I'm just going to adhere this right in the center of there. So also on this stamp set that I use to do the star, it's called Brush Strokes. It has some little bitty sentiments, and so there is one that says Miss You. And so I am going to attempt to not mess anything up and stamp Miss and then the word You. And so I think I'm going to be done. You know, there are a bunch of things that I could do to this layout, but because it is remembering my daddy, and he was such a simple man, I think this is going to be it. Now, you may be wondering about the tags with the holes. So around here, around these parts, I don't like leaving tags with unfinished holes. So I am going to pull out some jute and tie those off. Now, you wouldn't really have to, because I actually consider an eyelet finishing it, so to speak. It's just the plain holes to me. Just I don't know, they just speak to me and say, Katie, put something on me. So I'm going to do that right quick and then bring back the finished layout. So I've got these tied, and then I just want to show you that I like adding glue dots to kind of control where the little legs go, so to speak. So the ones with knots are easy. So that's a glue dot, that has a glue dot, and then these ends have glue dots. So I'm going to do the same with these ends. Now I'm using the micro glue dots, and if you just roll them onto your little stem, then it makes it a lot easier. Also, if you put your tail on a light color, it seems to work out a whole lot better than, let's say, if I were to put that on the Harbour color, you'd be able to tell. So we've got those two up there, this one down here, and that is done. Again, documenting my daddy, and reminding you that make sure you take the photos. Make sure, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, then you know the importance, unless you're just starting out. And just be passionate about taking those photos and printing them off, because like I said, once someone passes away, you don't have that option anymore to get any more photos of them.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I'll leave links down below to all the products that I used, as well as all the channel links to the Creative Design Team members. If you haven't already checked out our playlist, click on that playlist, and every single one of the Creative Design Team videos will be seen there. Tomorrow, Erin will be rounding up this month's collab featuring fathers. So if you aren't already a subscriber, head on over to Erin's channel and hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, check back tomorrow so you can see what she has to share. Thank you again, and I really appreciate you watching, commenting, and liking.